And so we return to Stormbringer. Greetings everyone, I am Sister Lilia, and when I last looked at this magazine it was in issue 1. Maybe issue 2. Somehow we're already up to issue 72. What? Where'd the time go? So, just carefully scratch that because I don't want to damage my bench. So I'll talk about the model in a moment, but the magazine itself, we've got, let's see what we've got on the magazine itself. So in here we've got a bit on Archaon the Everchosen. Now, do we cover anything of his old world lore? I don't think so. Oh no, maybe. Archaon caused the destruction of the world that was after this victory. It's cast into the void, only to be snatched up from death by the Chaos Gods, who valued their champion greatly, with promises of power and glory, and the chance to slay his hated foe Sigmar. The gods tempted Archaon once more. Nice. Trials of glory, Archaon. So it was. Oh yeah, they are. Even for the Everchosen, the Dark Gods give nothing without sacrifice. Each sent a mighty champion to slay Archaon, and each champion got its ass handed to it, and fed his steed. Bleak triumph, Archaon's greatest victory. In the Age of Chaos was in a battle of the burning skies. With his vast strength, the Everchosen held his own against the God King Archaon's trickery caused Sigmar to lose his hammer, Gelmaraz, turning the tide of battle and dooming the mortal realms. Oh no, to a great suffering. It would take many years and much sacrifice for Gelmaraz to be reclaimed. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But look at the designs they've got for each of them. Like, look at that. Look at all those. Look at those. Those are dope. You'd think this was the name of a fortification, but no, it's a person, which probably indicates just how tough he is in the setting. I say that without actually knowing AOS very much. So, the first Lord Commander during the Age of Chaos, the gates of Asher were sealed. Bastion Carlos led. Alos led the Hammers of Sigmar, the first storm host, to cleanse the realm of the forces of chaos. This feat saw Sigmar name him first ever Lord Commander. Reasons for battle. Roll. Bastion has heard of the single. There's an interesting trait set there. Like, we've got some gorgeous images of him. I wish they put this much effort into Inquisitor Cotiers as they did into this model, because this model is dope, and this is what I kind of wanted for Cotiers. Good thing I've got this model. That's a future video. Not going to have the time to paint this thing up for inclusion in this video for us to do the conversion and painting in this video. So I'll show the complete model, but I'll not be able to have it painted for this video because of the conversion and because there is a convention that I am attending. Anyway, so we see the instructions there, we see the instructions here, we have a painting guide. I might actually take advantage of this. Black. Oh, okay, they don't provide the guide for the painting the armour because that is assumedly covered already. But they provide a tip for the leather. Interesting. Not how I do leather, but still. We see some of the covering for the details on the base. The base is gorgeous. It's probably only going to need minor modifications. Candle stack? I mean, candle stack? I've been staring at those things for feffing ages because they take feffing ages to do. We've got more painting guides, more painting guides. Oh, we've got a guide on his head. That's neat. His head brown. I mean, what was the painting tutorial for the skin? The paper said leaf it attached to the spray paint. Painting. What brown was that from that brown they used earlier? Belts and straps. I don't see where they told us to paint his head. It's gorgeous colours anyway. I'm not sure if I'll use this head for courtiers, but I'll reference the older art. But yeah, it's a gorgeous model. Its base might be too big for what I want. Its base might be too big for what I want to do, but I can fix that. So you see the data sheet. I'm not sure if that's for current AOS. That might be for the previous edition, because I think they hard changed the rules. Yeah, given it's got the Skaven and it, not the Skaven, given it's got the Oryx, it's probably the previous edition, and the new edition changed the core rules. And saw a massive range refresh that upset quite a lot of people. So yeah, we see Warscroll tutorials on using his magic, and he's got a few different magics. Lost out of the Valley of Thingo. Back in Gura, the Army of Order was a hive of frenetic activities. The troops needed food, and they needed rest and shelter after their long campaign. But the gathering threat around the city could not be ignored. The land needed to be scouted, and the city needed to be fortified. Those troops who had remained behind to defend the city were scarcely in better shape than the returning army, having fought off numerous devastating attacks. Their limited number and equipment dwindling further with each onslaught, or fresh onslaught. The commanders of the Army of Order called a council to prioritise the many and desperate needs of the force. For the first time since the city's founding, all the commanders were back together. At the head of the table was the newest addition to the rank. The council had barely started when a messenger rushed through the door, exhausted and on the brink of collapse. In shallow breaths he spoke of a new deposit of magical shadow stone that could be used to conceal troops and to trick the enemy into mirages and illusions. All commanders turned to the newcomer, Lord Commander Bastian Carthalos. His undisputed authority and tactical mastery was born of centuries of brutal and successful campaigning in the name of Sigmar. Not one of the other commanders dared to risk making a fool of themselves in front of him. Nice. There was a silence around Carthalos. Was there? There was a silence around the table as they waited for him to speak. Carthalos was no stranger to awestruck soldiers and had a suggestion that would recover the Sunstone and give the commanders cause to hold their heads up in his presence in the future. The commanders themselves would travel to Ulagu. What are these names? and find the exact deposited room of realmstone and bring it back for study. On hearing this, each of the commanders immediately stepped forward, wishing to prove themselves and take part of the adventure. So many volunteered. In the end, they drew lots. Carthos throwing his name into the draw do. Little do they suspect the destruction scouts were watching closely. Within hours, the party of their own champions was on the hero's trail. Was on the hero's tail. Ah, yeah, so that's giving this mission. Oh, yeah, so we've got an orc war boss of some variety. A requirement of 5 heroes. Why are they defending a city? They don't like cities. But yeah, just any 5 heroes of order and of order aligned, and any 5 heroes of destruction. Love the goblin design. We've got the battle layout there. We've got the back of the book and a preview of the next issues. Come on, I want to make those into knobs. As for that, I see that and I'm thinking tech priest, but of course I'd have to replace that with a cog shield and replace that with a ominous axe and change the head over, all of which can be done, but not this week because I don't have it. Also, in general. So, as for the models themselves, now that I'm done talking about the book, we see the models now. Because they've been in a bag, the sprues have had a chance to warp over time, as these would have been cast a long time ago in England and took quite some time to get over to Australia. But, we've got a gorgeous cape, and then the back of the model has its own skirts too. And we've got this entire sprue is dedicated to just his body, and a tiny little skull. We've got the body and cape on there. We've got the long thingo that I think spins off to his side. Flipping it over, we've got plenty of neat details. Plenty of neat details. And then here we've got 2 options for his hammer. I'm not sure if rules-wise it changes much if he's wielding it one-handed or two-handed, but I do find it interesting that they included the option. Yeah. But this guy is chunky. I'm thinking, just... because I am pretty much dead set on converting this guy into an Inquisitor, but that's the size of Thaddeus the Purifier next to him. He's going to be a bit big. But scale creep has been a thing with 40k for ages, so I'm not too bothered. As for the hands, we see that that hand has got its bracer plate on the outside of its van brace. That one doesn't. That one doesn't. That one doesn't either. You see, quite a neat shoulder pad. That is a neat design. Also, the detail for his base is there. We see there's 2 different versions for heads. So we've got the helmeted one that looks almost like a dwarf. Although he also looks like a wizard. And we've got the other Stormcast head. So I'm going to build this thing and be back. And we have Bastion Carthalos built. And yeah, it's a neat model. Now it was a little bit of a nuisance. One of the instruction steps tells you to build it without glue, which interesting idea, but slight problem. This thing doesn't want to stay together. The cape does not want to stay on if you do that. Also, I might have the pauldron doesn't attach very well on this side, especially if you happen to chop off part of the shoulders nib thing, because from here, thinking it was a bit of bit of joining point, because, you know, it kind of was. It kind of looked like it. But, like, this is a neat sculpt. In terms of scale, here's how they scale with a normal stormcast. Here's how they scale with the leader from the Black Powder Buccaneers, which already makes me nervous about the idea of using this model as an Inquisitor, although technically he has a very thick base. So if I just hold that up at about the same height as his foot, he's still tall as heck. It's a neat model though. Like, if I compare him to a regular human, he's going to dwarf it. But it's not like Inquisitors haven't been recruited from Space Marines. And oops, there's a hint as to something I'm going to do in a future video. But yeah, like, it's a neat model. It is interesting that the magazine didn't give you the instructions to, or suggestion to build it up as the other way with the hammer set up like that. Did tell you can use either head. I've just blue tacked the head in, and but yeah, the hammer having an actual detail on the front of it is neat. Maybe I missed a step. Okay, so I definitely missed a step, but that's been corrected now. We now have the hammer detail on there. And that's a neat idea, actually having the detail piece as a separate one on for the end of the hammer. It is interesting how they provide two different ways of wielding the hammer. I wonder if that plays into the rules for this model in normal Age of Sigmar. And AOS is currently 10 years old. Neat. The paint guide for this thing certainly looks intensive. I'm struggling to see if there's any rule about holding the unit, holding the hammer two-handed, but who knows, there might be, there might not. Still, it is a neat model. Now, a future video, I am turning this thing into an Inquisitor. Auto Malleus Inquisitor coming end of August. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and why not leave a like and subscribe?